Still working on the welds on this thing. It's just a lot of welding. Can you imagine building one of these tractors? That's a lot of welding. But the welders they used were significantly larger than what we've got, so I'd imagine they could put a lot more iron down quickly. Really, I should be stick welding some of this, but I'm just not a very good stick welder. I haven't done very much of it. I know my MIG, so that's what I'm using. I'll show you what we're doing here though. Both fenders now are ready for the LSW 1400s. So we got roughly almost 90 inches from there to there, from there to wherever the bottom of the tire will be. And LSW 1400 is about 82.8 or something like that. It's just under 83 inches from diameter. So it should fit in here fine. I've seen other people say, well, why don't you get 1200s, 1250s? From our understanding, they're just as wide as the 1400. They're just narrower width-wise, but the same height. So that's why we're just like, well, let's put the big ones on, because we're gonna need all the traction we can get when we add weight. Yeah. So I gotta finish welding all this. There's a piece we put in there. It's just a lot of welding, but we're gonna go ahead and put these little angle braces in. We'll put 2 there, probably one on the top and one on the bottom when we get that finished up. There was cracking on this fender. You can see this one, they had welded previously. See how it broke off? Well, we broke it off, but it had broke and they had welded it at one point. We're putting those in. We think they'll miss the 1400s, and that way it'll just keep that fender a little bit from chattering as much. Plus, like we've said in previous videos, or previous time, we're gonna put some heavy duty iron on the bottom end of these two right here. So that'll really strengthen that. Leg arms had to take off. He's gonna go pick the transmission up again from the Allison dealership in the area. They've got, had to put a gear in it for a PTO to take off the top, so we didn't have that. It turned out the transmission didn't have that. He took the cover off and it wasn't there. So if you peek inside the top of our other Allison 6000, there should be a gear right there. There's a torque converter. There should be a gear out of that hole right there, and that was going to power the PTO on the top. Well, it didn't have it, so neither of them have it. So we had to take it somewhere and have that put in. So that way then they can put that on top and start the process of getting a PTO for a grain cart. Oh yeah. Done. Well, aside for that and over there, but we're gonna deal with that later. But not too bad. Some of this welding was tough. I tried to clean it up as good as I could, but when you're welding on a ceiling and it's trying to run down, it's just hard. But the sides are welded really well. It's welded both sides. Best welds, probably what you guys just looked at. Here's some good welds right there. Ignore that. And then the worst welds I'm gonna clean up. I haven't done it yet. All right, right there. I put a spacer in there and I was welding on it, and my hood is just so bad I couldn't even see. And when I took it off, I was running everywhere, and I was like, oh. So I gotta clean that up pretty well done. So, well, I got a lot of grinding to do. We'll clean all those edges up, round them off, get it where it's ready to paint, and it'll look like we did it. I did it. You can blame me. But now we can fit big tires. That's good.
We are getting very close on mounting the transmission engine into the chassis of the big bud. What I have to do is I got to modify the brackets that bolts onto the transmission so that way we can get it in there and we'll have clearance for the hydraulic pumps and a few other things that's in there. The one thing that I'm really concerned about is my steering cylinders. It's going to be tight. They might hit this transmission right here. All the measurements I've done, it's gonna be very tight. We won't know until we get it in there. If they don't fit and they hit, we'll figure that out when we get to that point. I have a couple ideas in my mind on how to fix that. But that means some fabrication or spending more money and getting different cylinders. We'll see about that. So here's what I got going on. Let's give you guys an idea. Those rubber bushings that I made, those plates, these right here, will mount on the bottom of this big heavy bracket that they have already. These were actually flipped upside down and they were actually stood up about this high. The problem with that is the cylinders are gonna hit them. So I had to flip them around, but the problem with them being so low is my hydraulic pumps on this side over here will probably hit them if I stack another pump. So I don't want that to be a problem. I want to be able to plan for the future. And if I need to add more hydraulics to this tractor, I have the capabilities of doing that without having engine mounts or transmission mounts in the way. So this is what I got coming up, or got going on. I modified it a little bit, shortened it up, as you can tell, and that will give me enough clearance for the hydraulics pumps, and that's the piece I took out. Should be good to go. So let me just keep fabbing this up, make these mounts.
Let me look at them first.
Yeah, you like my mount right here?
Yeah, all right, okay.
Hey, Nick, aren't you supposed to be like cleaning the shop or something?
Just go with what you got there.
Yeah, exactly. All right. There we go. So I shortened those brackets there for the transmission, and then I built these heavy duty things. They're 1/2-inch steel. I think they should work. Yep. All right. So basically this is how it's going to sit on the tractor. It's 4 feet exactly from the inside to inside in that tractor, and you'll weld all of this on the back side, and it'll be stout. It ain't going anywhere, but I think it'll work out great. Okay, I think this transmission's ready to go in. Fun. Took a little bit of welding, a little bit of fabbing, but I like it. I wonder if Nick likes it.
It warmed up. We're about just over freezing right now, and we were sub-zero temperatures previously, so this is nice. So when you open doors, we got a shop full of smoke from welding and cutting. You can vent things out a lot better. It's nice. Yeah, that was me. I'll take credit for that. Oopsie, my bad. Yeah, we gotta order a part, put a new wiper on it. Okay. Currently Mita's doing this, and I can't open the door with the forks up above these tires because the door hits the loader. So I'm gonna try to fish the fork under this if I can. We'll see. I don't think it's gonna work, but maybe we'll get lucky. All right, second wheel, let's go. Come on. Come on, Shane. Be good. Nope, Yeah. Oh, it's gonna fall off. Oh, man. Let's try this. Oh, just go in there. Oh. So close. Come on. No, that's not gonna work. I can't get it to go through it. I doubt I could go under there. Let's try this. Let's go like. Ah. Come on, you're so close. I don't think I can do it. I did the first one. Oh, I think I got it. Oh, it popped off. Oh, okay, I gotta reset this. Leg guard is coming. Can I do it before he comes? I don't think so. All right, we'll take a friend.
stuck. Okay.
So I think the tire's stuck. It's binding. It's lifting the whole thing up like this. It needs turned and slid on. So, oh, there you go. Never mind. All right.
Just need the skid steer to push against it.
Yeah, I'll do that. Oh, not quite enough. Gotta block the wheels up more. That tire is about out of the air. But the tube's shot, so it's just sitting on the rubber. There's a pretty good chance these fuel tanks haven't been washed out since, well, 1977. Actually, that means they've never been washed out. Well, I'm sure they did once before they finished WEP, they finished weld and everything. But still, yeah, there was some nice stuff that came out. But we're getting her cleaned up. Just get this all washed down, get all the oil and grease off it, and then we'll put her back in and start mock it up where the engine and transmission go. But for now, we just wanted to get the oil tanks cleaned out, fuel tanks cleaned out, and get the residue off it so it's not so slippery while we're walking all over it.
All right, when we had this transmission at Al's Diesel, the PTO was off so he could do some stuff and test it. I put the PTO back on. We got gaskets and shims, and I shimmed it to what it needs to be. And now what I'm doing is I'm taking a tap and I'm cleaning up the threads here so I can bolt this drive shaft, drive line onto here. And then we'll take this thing, put it in the bud, get it where we want, weld those up, support the front, get the engine, put it in. Should work. Yeah. So Nick's gonna push it in. We'll try to get it lined up as best as we can. And then I might have to lift up the transmission a little bit, we'll see. And then try to drop it down in there. Yeah, fun.
Five-ton gantry, well, 5-ton trolley, 10-ton hoist, a 16-inch W beam. I forget how many pounds per foot it is.
30 ton.
30 ton there.
Here.
I think we figure from our farmer calculations, we're good to about 6,000 to 10,000 pounds with this. 10 being absolute max. I wouldn't probably push it to 10. This thing weighs 3, maybe 4,000 pounds. So we're doing one lift at a time. Yeah, it's tight. Yeah, it's clutched on this. There we go. That'll help a little bit. We're gonna hit a fuel line over here. I can take it off. It's a T.
Once we push that down over,
okay,
and straighten it out, it'll be fine. Which we can do right now.
Okay. Ooh, look at that shiny. Isn't that nice? That's a big transmission for this tractor. All right, needs it to go forward about a foot. Oh, I can't get out. Gotta drop the motor down. There we go.
All right, we got the transmission in, it's installed, we're ready to drive it out in a few months. But I figured I'd have to do this. Right there, where the original skid used to lay on the frame, there's like a 1/2 inch plate or a 3/4 inch plate that goes all the way from the back to the front. And that's gonna be a problem for the pumps. And right now, I need to notch that out real quick so we can get this transmission where it needs to be, and then we'll clean it up later and actually do the right thing. But I just need to notch it out. Yeah, okay, let's cut this thing. I was just telling the guys, I need a raise. Look at how beautiful. Look at that. All the measurements over there, welding these things up, fits perfect right there. And that one fits perfect. Oh yeah, that is just absolutely gorgeous. Now a lot of you guys are probably thinking, well, you didn't grind it. You need to grind it before you weld it, and you are absolutely correct. What we're gonna do first is we're gonna level the tractor, get it where it needs to be roughly, and then that way it's easier to kind of level this thing because it's kind of weird and wonky in here. Then once we get it where we want, the right height, the right position, then we'll mark all that where these mounts are, grind it all off, put the mounts back on, and then we'll glue the tops of them pretty decent, enough to hold, and then maybe the bottoms, and then we'll go get the engine, try to put it in here, make sure that it's right. And if it's not right, then we can cut those off a little bit and move them and shift them if we really needed to. But other than that, looks good. Set up too much. There we go. Yeah, it needs to go quite a bit more. As of right now, that's pretty level.
All right, so went ahead, leveled the main frame from there to there, and then on the front of this we've got jacks, and she's level here too. So the front half of the bud that holds the transmission engine is level with the earth. So now when we level the engine with these, it'll be level with the bud. That way we're not trying to do crazy measurements. So theoretically, it should be good, but we'll still do crazy measurements because you gotta be accurate.
So there's a couple wrenches up there. Sort of wrench in the socket, I believe.
Oh, too high. I did it too much. We're prepping the surface to weld the mounts on. So we leveled the transmission. It is level, that axis and this axis, squared up with the frame. Frame's level 2, so everything is level and it's in place. So he's welding up that bracket on that side. We gonna have to regrind this side because it moved a little bit from when we first ground it. So he's gonna get that one glued on tight. Then we'll take this one off, grind it up, put that back on, and then glue that. And then this transmission is just gonna sit here. There's a nice ratchet strap around the belly of it, back up again, hooked on that side of the frame on this lip right here. It's gonna stay there like this. We unhook this crane. It'll hang on the two mounts back there. Crane goes over, we roll the bud back. That bad boy right there. Gonna come over here, lift it up, roll the bud back in, and then start placing the engine. Made it up the transmission, and then get the engine mounts figured out. And then we'll get an idea of how much of that needs cut out there, because we're going to be doing a lot of that. So, yeah. 2 foot right in the center. It's just a hair. It technically needs to go to the west just a little bit. Like I'm talking like maybe a 16th this way. Yeah, I need a little more maybe. I mean, it's good. It's like really close. Okay, he's got the sides glued pretty good. So I think we're ready to take the weight off this hoist. I should be able to let this one off. We were using this electric one to twist the engine sideways, so we'll let slack out of that. We'll take that off in a minute.
It's going down.
Is it? All right, step one. Well, wait, I don't even know what step we're on. I take that back. We'll just say step one of getting the engine and transmission in there. The engine or transmission is currently made it inside. It's hanging there. Its weight has been added to the axles. So now we're hooking up chain to the back of the case steer, and we're gonna pull the whole rolling chassis back. Let's get that engine lifted up on the hoist, drop it in. He's gonna go out there, run around, come in this door. We're gonna slide the stand with the KTT 19 Cummins, crank to 700, and we're gonna put it right here in line with our hoist. Skid steers are amazing. Isn't that awesome? I like skid steers. And if he tips it over, it's his fault, so actually, I could be objecting to this procedure here, so I guess it'd be somewhat my fault. One downside about the addition we did in the shop is we put that gantry right over the seam in the floor here where our 15-year-old addition went out that way. Well, the floor is slightly lower on that side than it is this side, because when we poured that slab, there used to be a wall here. We had no idea. So that means there's a slight drop right here, right where we put stuff to lift up. So everything kind of teeters there, but we haven't had anything tip over yet.
What I do is I cross it. So like these two will be crossed. So like this one will be on this side over here. So this will go on this side. That one will go right through here. And they hook on the bottom. A little too tight.
Yeah, the top needs.
Okay, pull it up a little, or we need to get another chain.
Now we need to take that stand off.
Go any higher. Let's get this on. Yeah, it's close enough.
Okay, she's suspended. Beam isn't deflecting too much, thankfully. We've lifted a KT engine before, so this isn't the first time. In fact, I think we lifted an engine with a fuller transmission attached to it. So yeah, it can do it. But lifting stuff always a little nerve-wracking. All right, so, okay, let me get up top here. I'll start guiding this little guy here. Trick is when he's pushing is to push just right so that this rear axle doesn't articulate while we're pushing. Because it steers this thing pretty quick if you do. So he's trying to keep it straight. That's why he's repositioning. All right, that'll give us about 2-3 inches gap right here. I think the front's gonna clear. We're gonna have to inch this bud forward when we get this transmission or the engine down to fit over the flywheel with the bell housing there, and then we're just gonna roughly bolt it up. We won't hook the flex plate in or anything yet, obviously, because this is just mock-up, right? Just get engine mounts built. That's what we're trying to do here. All right, we're pretty close. We gotta move the bud forward a little bit because there's some fittings in the front here that are hitting on the frame. Right there. There were some old hydraulic fittings down there that were hitting on the mounts that he made. We'll clear them if we get this to go in. Well, we're close to being low enough, a little bit more. So we're just now going over the flywheel, but we gotta lift the front of the engine up to square this up. You can even put a block of wood and a floor jack on the oil pan and just barely lift up. It's not gonna take much, you just gotta tip it up a little bit. So we're getting the jack on the front, and he's gonna lift up on that cross member that he built for the engine mount. And if we get this tilted and tipped up a little bit, it should slide over that flywheel. There we go. That's really close. So we gotta try to squeeze this together. It's not grabbing. The threads are it needs like this needs pushed over because I don't have enough.
Can you grab like a bar?
I need a longer bolt. Right, just push on this end over here. Push it towards me. There we go. Okay, I might be able. Where's that wrench? No.
It's got to go down just a tiny bit.
The back?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go. Stop.
You push on it. Yeah, it's just so cockeyed. It's twisted. It needs pushed together.
Figure out something that we can take the whole engine and transmission out at once. The sucky thing is we still have to split it because I don't have the gasket on it.
I'd rather do them separately. So if you drop both of them, you're not going to ruin both. The engine needs to come towards me a little bit, and it needs to go up a little bit. Okay, now right there. Okay, push on it, Scott. There's no way I'm moving that with my legs. Okay, I think we got it. I think we got one going in. So there's not much in it right now. I wish the ratchet worked on this. Well, there's not enough room, is there? It's starting to get hard. All right, we got it made it up. It took a little bit of time because the front engine mount was a little tight on this side when it was bolted up to the engine, and it was creating a gap right here. So we took that off, snapped into place. It's all great, but the engine is a 1/2 inch on the very front here, a 1/2 inch off center this way. And there could be a couple factors to that. We squared this transmission up with this area right here as well as we could. Who knows? The frame of this bud might move a little bit, you know? So if that's the case when we're measuring up there, if that's not true with down here, it's gonna be off. So it's not a big deal. We're gonna see if we're gonna keep messing with it. We might be able to get that 1/2 inch less than a 1/2 inch. Maybe get down to 1/4 inch or just leave it and we'll put it all together. If the engine is just slightly off center of this frame here, it won't do anything because you've got a universal joint that goes there. And the fan, it won't like rub into the radiator because I mean, you're really talking just millimeters. But we're done for today. We'll pick this up another day.
Well, we probably could see, two people could do that.
Fun.
And just
I love this part.
We can just grind the whole area off.
That's a good site. That's a good
And then we
site.
could do it.
Thanks for watching, guys. And if you are enjoying this, please hit the subscribe button. I really want to get to 600,000 subs. That'd be amazing. Actually, 1 million would be.
Once you get to
I'd love 1 million.
where you want it,
Really would love 1
then
million.
you can
But
bolt this thing all in.
I'd be okay if I don't get it. 600,000 would be nice though. So do it for me and leg arms and the butt.